Barnard Architects. Go over to some exhibits that I brought in. First of all, a 30-foot wide lot would give us a 15-foot wide house, taken out of the setbacks. The average width of the houses in the neighborhood are about 24, 25 feet wide. This is the reason why we're requesting a minor subdivision, moving Croton, 123 Croton, 40 feet wide. The result of that would allow us a 24.5 feet wide house on 123 Croton Street, which is this gray house here. It would allow us to have a garage. Garages need to be 20 feet, 22 feet deep. We can't do a garage in 15 feet deep. So the reason for the subdivision was to get a quality size house built on 123 Croton Street. The 40-foot subdivision is 4.5 feet from the face of 122 Croton Street. To prevent both faces of houses to be fire rated, we needed a 10-foot separation. So what we're showing on this exhibit, on the crosshatch exhibit at 10 feet, is this 10-foot zone. So the new residents at 123 Croton Street, we would actually have it at a distance further beyond the 5-foot required setback line, just to go ahead and just to make sure we have a 10-foot separation between the houses. And I'd request the board's approval and motion to allow us to have the 40-foot subdivision. I believe there's only one other lot that's like this, that's 30 and 90, 120 feet. And that lot is 120 feet. I may misspeak there, but again, we feel that the scale and proportion of a larger house would be welcome in the neighborhood, and we cannot build on a 30-foot wide lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant? Mr. Condon, you got a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
One of the things that we try and do as a board, I'm speaking only for myself. One of the things that we try and do as a board is to make sure that if we make allowances and grant variances, that it meets sort of certain standards. And one of them, and it's an important standard to us, is that whatever we allow fits with the rest of the street, the block, et cetera. And we really don't reach much beyond the block that you're on. When we go back to that map, all but 2 houses on the block are on 60-foot lots. Yeah, if we go back to this. So it's really a neighborhood of predominantly 60-foot lots with, let's say, 35, 40-foot houses on them. If we get into this, it's a slippery slope, speaking only for myself now. It's a slippery slope when we get into stretching 30 feet into 40 feet. You know, this is actually historically 4 lots. If there were 4 lots and you wanted to do a minor subdivision, 2 lots, and you've got 2 60-footers, our job is much easier.
Yeah, I agree.
What you're asking us to do here is actually remarkably more difficult than you realize, because there's sort of long-term implications for the rest of the neighborhood. You did it for him, why won't you do it for me? And so if you have an existing 30-foot lot, I'm not offering advice here, I'm just making a statement. If you have an existing 30-foot lot historically, you're allowed to build on it. You don't necessarily have to build a 15-foot house. And if you're not successful today, my non-recommendation, an idea that I'm floating in the air, is that you work with the MPC on a way to make your 30-foot lot work with a 20-foot house. So my question to you basically is that, no, it's not a question. I'm sorry.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak concerning this petition? If you're online, again, I'll remind you, use the raise your hand feature. Anyone online? Yeah, we do have one.
Hello?
Mr. Scott, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I don't mind progress, but long as they, whoever gets that does this, be responsible for what they put in those houses, you know what I'm saying, rental property, if it's gonna be a rental property, I hope the landlord is gonna be responsible for who they put in there.
We're having a hard time understanding you with the background noise.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm this first time with this. Can you hear me now?
Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Give it a try.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I don't mind progress, but as long as they, whoever the landlord is, they are responsible for the property. Can you hear me?
No, sir, not really.
I'm sorry.
Try moving your phone or your laptop in a better direction. Yeah, mute one of those devices. All right, Mr. Scott, if you got something to say, we're gonna need to tune in pretty soon.
Let me get rid of, you said I gotta get rid of one of the devices. Let me get rid of one of the devices. Let me cut this off.
All right, it seems Mr. Scott's having some technical difficulties here. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak?
May I?
Well, yeah, normally I'd
Can
give
I
you a chance to rebut, but
I would like to rebuttal to Mr. Khan, to your comment. And looking at this particular area neighborhood, we're the only 30-foot lot. This is the only 30-foot lot that I'm seeing. If there were any actions of any of the other property folks that see this and see an approval, they would have to be either not in this neighborhood, or they want to divide, say, oh, we'll have an existing 120-foot lot that doesn't have a property line on it. Furthermore, it's even staff has said the property is unusual and particular. The subject property is lot width is half the size of the parcels in the neighborhood. So we're just looking for a lot width where we can have, again, a house width that is common with the other houses in the neighborhood. But thank you.
thank you. Okay, Mr. Scott, you want to speak? Mr. Scott, I think you're muted. All right, Mr. Scott, we can't wait on you any longer. All right, if there's no other questions for staff, or I've got one question. Mr. Scott, are you there? Okay, go ahead. Well, I understand that really outside of our purview, but certainly appreciate the comments. Yes, sir. All right, thank you so much. All right, the request for 122 is the side yard setback, correct?
Yes,
And then the request for 123, the variance is for
increasing the lot
lot
width.
coverage, okay. Increasing the size of the lot.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Terry.
Increasing the lot coverage, though, makes it still a non-conforming lot as far as the 6,000 square foot. What he has now is a lot that's non-conforming, but buildable because it exists. And what he's asking us to do is to create another non-conforming lot and allow him to build on it, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Connor.
You had mentioned during your presentation that there was an additional variance that would be required. What would that be?
Muted.
The additional variance that would be required is the side yard variance for the adjacent property.
But that one has not been, it's not had, been through the process or had, been posted.
No, yes, so the additional variance, if 123 is granted, then he would need the variance that he applied for 122. So it's causing another need for variance.
I see, so, okay. That makes it a little more clear for me too. All right. Do you have anything you want to add before we go into board discussion?
For applying for variance.
No, you're all set. You're all set. He cleared it up.
I'm just requesting a clarification of that statement of an additional variance. Robert Portman, Barn Architects.
So for 123, the variance requested is the increase in lot width from 30 to 40 feet, moving the property line. And if that variance is granted, then you need a variance for 122 based on the proposed site plan of a side yard variance for the 4 foot 6 inches.
Which Robert Portman, Barn Architects, both of those are being presented this morning.
Yes, okay, I understand.
I thought if there was approval of this, we would have to go for another.
No.
Yeah, that's the way it sounded, but I understand, yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Is anybody else a little confused by the staff report, or is it just me?
Not anymore, but if you have a question for staff, now's the time to do it.
I'm not sure what it would be, other than I'm just very confused.
So they want, the item number 6 is a request to move that lot line, to change the size of the lot. If he gets that, he's got to have a variance for the side yard setback. Excuse me. Side yard setback.
Which is variance number 5.
Yeah, if he doesn't get number 6, he's not going to need number 5 anyway.
So 123,
Yeah, 123 is a 30 foot wide lot. He wants to make it 40 feet wide.
okay, the way I'm reading it is he's trying to make a 20-foot lot, requesting a 40-foot width lot variance from the 60-foot width requirement. That's what I'm saying. I'm just very off today, or it's not presented the right way.
So the zoning it is RSF6 zoning. So the 60 foot is the required lot width for any property in the zone. He is proposing to move it to 40, which is also still non-conforming to the 60 requirement, therefore needing the variance. And because he's asking for that variance, it requires another variance for 122 because he's moving the property line closer to the existing building, encroaching on the 5 yard
So
side yard requirement.
if you're trying to take a 60-foot lot to 40 foot, would it not normally be presented as a 20-foot variance?
When you move the lot line, it changes the side yard setback for the existing house.
Okay, I think I understand the concept here. I feel like the staff report is worded in a way it is not usually done. I just wanted to point that out as well. Thank you.
I wanted to clarify that there were no additional letters of support or opposition from the neighborhood. No one other than Mr. Scott who phoned in. Y'all didn't receive anything?
Correct.
Any other questions for staff or the petitioner or anybody else? want to make sure everybody's clear on what's going on. So Mrs. Jarrett, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Outside of the fact that one variance as opposed to two variances seems like a logical thing to do, but no.
Okay, Mr. Evans, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, sure. So I think that my colleagues on the board may have had some concerns about creating what would end up being two non-conforming lots, but in my view, in doing so, what we're doing is making each lot somewhat closer to the historical pattern and really the objectives of the zoning law in that area, in getting closer to the 60 feet on each lots. And certainly there would be, small variances on the setbacks, but that I don't think is of the petitioners making. I think that's just a historical anomaly, because you had 120-foot lot that should have been two 60-foot lots for some reason was 90 and 30, and there was a structure built there. So, we're dealing with something that's effectively non-conforming, and this is bringing it closer in line with the objectives of the zoning law. So I would offer my support.
Okay, Mr. Plunk?
I tend to agree with Mr. Evans in that the 30-foot lot, there's going to be an abnormality here no matter how it's developed. And I guess we're just kind of meeting in the middle here with the proposal, but I can certainly understand the other side as well, but that's all.
Mr. Condon? Okay, Mr. Hall?
No.
Mrs. Jones?
No.
Okay, would someone care to make a motion? Might as well deal with 6 first, yeah. For 123 Croton Street, for the lot increase. If someone would like to make a motion concerning that one.
Move to approve staff recommendation.
Okay, Mrs. Jarrett has made a motion to approve staff recommendations, which
Which is denial of
Denial.
the
for
variance.
denial for request for variance or request for a variance to do the lot and size increase. Is there a second to the motion? All right, there's no second to that motion. The motion fails. Would someone like to make another motion?
I'd move to approve the variance.
All right, Mr. Evans has made a motion to approve the request for variance to increase the lot size. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Plunk. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, we're hearing none. Mrs. Jarrett, how do you vote?
No.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Plunk?
Yes.
Mr. Condon?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
All right, the motion passes and the variance request to increase the lot size is approved. Next, we're going to hear, or I would entertain a motion for item number 5, the request for variance for 122 Croton Street for the side yard setback.
Move to approve the variance.
Mr. Evans has made a motion to approve the variance for the side yard setback. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Plunk. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, Mrs. Jarrett, how do you vote?
No.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Plunk?
Yes.
Mr. Condon?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
All right, the motion is approved and the request for side yard variance setback is approved. And if there's no further business, we will adjourn.